Hey guys, how you doing? This is Angel Balatrowski from coffeewithangel.com, just giving you guys the second installment here of Peter Montoya's notes from Peter Montoya's speech at Top Earners Academy, where he talked about branding. And like I said in the last video that I did, he talked for an hour and a half. So this will be now the second half an hour that I'm going to share with you guys. In this one, he goes pretty in depth into a lot of things. So in our last video that we did, the last step was to do your homework of coming up with your specialization statement. So hopefully you were able to do that. Like I said, it's very eye-opening, and it just alleviates a lot of pressure. And if you're someone, some people are involved in more than one thing, and that's totally fine. Have a different specialization for each. You're going to be using that with your team, and that's totally okay. But it's just very bland, but it says what you do. So things like weight loss for Canadian moms, right? Could be something, or affordable travel for families, or at-home income opportunities for stay-at-home parents, those kind of things. Those are things that came to my mind as easy to follow, easy to share specialization statements. Like I say, it's not, Peter said it's not a public statement, but it's an easy way to state what you do. So hopefully you're able to go through that homework and do that. I'm gonna go over to the screen sharing here so I can share with you guys my next presentation. If it wants to cooperate, it's going to take its time. Okay, so we're going to go to present. Okay, so Peter Montoya on branding, part 2. Let's jump right into it here. And one other thing he started off this half an hour was saying, as a reminder for your specialization statement, if there still was a yellow pages, what category would you be in? That was kind of a good way to think about it. Like, if you do have more than one focus or more than one thing that you're working on, what is your main focus? Sorry, what would you specialize the most in? If you were in those yellow pages, where would you be? So that's another good way to look at it. So he goes into slogans now, and he says that most major corporations, or major corporations as a whole, do their slogans differently than small business. So he gave the examples of Nike with Just Do It, Coca-Cola with The Real Thing, Microsoft with Where Do You Want to Go Today? And the reason they can be so vague and be so much about attitude is because people already know what these companies do. They've already put multi-millions or billions of dollars into advertising, into their marketing. They are a well-known household brand, all of them, and they don't need to work on enticing us, right? We already know what they're about. They can use these attitude slogans, and it's totally fine for them. But that doesn't work with people in small business, because most new business comes from people who don't know you yet. So they need to basically instantly understand what you do, and know that they want to follow you. So the purpose of your slogan, and your slogan is different than your specialization statement. Your slogan is going to capture their attention. So they need to instantly understand what you do. You need to capture their attention in 10 seconds. And think about when you say land on somebody's blog, or you land on somebody's timeline, or their Facebook fan page, or their Twitter page. If you can't figure out what that person is about, then they can't help you, right? And you move on instantly. You don't even give it a second thought. So if you take a look at what you're putting out there as your brand, and if you can look at it and think, if people land here, they really have no clue what I'm about, then you probably need to be sprucing up what you're putting out there, right? Or make it clear what you do. And I found that I had to do that myself. I have a blog, just for an example, that's called coffeewithangel.com. Well, people, of course, think that I sell coffee, and I don't. It was just a cute little name that I came up with, but then it ended up sticking, and I didn't change it to my name because people started to identify me by that name, right? So I didn't want to change it, but I was talking to Ray. He did some reviews for me, and I ended up coming up with a good statement on my blog, and it's helping families create the freedom lifestyle from home. So that there talks about what we talked about in the last video, where you're going to have to repel some people, right? And that's fine if I repel some people, if they're like, well, I don't need help creating freedom lifestyle from home. I don't have a family, I'm single, then that's okay. But somebody who is looking for that would want to stay on my blog and find out how I could help them, right? So it's that kind of thing. You want to be clear when people visually see who you are. Don't expect that they're going to contact you. You're not going to get that chance if you don't use those 10 seconds to really let them know who you are. And the word that he said is key is to be demonstrative, to absolutely be clear and demonstrate in your slogan who it is that you are. So then after that, he moved on into, and he didn't go into detail about creating your slogan. That's why I kind of threw in what mine is there, so it can give you a help. It's a little bit more meat to that specialization statement, right? Without getting vague. You don't want to not, be like, oh, well, people don't know what you mean when you say that. So you want to be specific and start to narrow in on your target market and draw them in. So that's where some good copywriting comes in as well, right? So he then went on to talk about handling non-ideal clients. All of us have had those people come our way, right? And especially when you're starting out, you are so hungry for anyone to talk to you or anyone to show any interest in what you're doing that you end up taking on a lot of people that you likely wouldn't once you get to a certain level. And so he said, when you're dealing with non-ideal clients or team members, prospects, anything like that, have a list of relevant partners. So if you start to talk to someone and they're showing an interest in what you do and you just know that they're not someone that you want to work with, have someone that you can refer them to, have even a company. Like if I talk to prospects and I can tell that they're very, they question what I'm doing, or they're doubtful, or, they just got too many questions and nothing that I say really satisfies them. And I've just got that gut feeling that they're not somebody that I want to work with anyway. I will refer them to a different company or to a different person. He made a joke that you should have a list of people that you don't really like, send these people to them. But I mean, that's the point where I start to ask people different questions and ask them what they really are passionate about. I just kind of say, well, what? Sounds like maybe what I have to offer you isn't really perfect for you. It doesn't sound like it's a perfect fit, because if it was, you wouldn't have all of these questions. So what is it that you like to do? And then I refer them to something else, and I'm totally okay with that. Or he said, if you are going to keep them on as clients or prospects in what we do, send them to a turnkey product that is low maintenance. So if they're going to join on your team, they can join on your team, but don't have them be anybody that sucks your time. Simply point them to the tools. If they do anything with it, good for them. But don't waste your time with these types of people who are your non-ideal people to work with. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons to learn as you're building your business, is that you don't need to give everybody your time. You don't even need to acknowledge people that you don't want to give your time to. I used to find my Facebook inbox to be overwhelming, right? And I would get messages from people that I had no clue who they were, but I would feel the need to answer them. That was just in me. That's just kind of human nature, right? You feel like you should. And then I realized I don't have to answer them at all. And so it's those types of things. And then that helped me to also realize that I don't need to answer every question. I don't need to answer every comment. I don't need to answer every post or anything like that, right? Or every email even. It's you can be very choosy of where you spend your time, and that's very important. So then he went on into an awesome topic. Do you know someone who is half as smart as you who makes 2 times as much what you do? And how true is that? Like, how many times have you said, you know what? That guy or that girl isn't even near as smart as me. I know I'm way smarter than them, and they're making this happen. I don't understand why I can't. Can you tell that I've said that before? It's horrible to admit, but it's true. And I always like what Lisa Grossman said, that she said to her husband when she got home from her first network marketing meeting, and she said to him, you know what, these people are a lot dumber than we are, and they're a lot uglier than we are, and they're making a lot more money than we are. And that always stuck in my head, because you find yourself, it's just our nature to also think that way, right? So what is it that these people do, these people who you don't understand how they're making it happen, and you don't? And it's the harsh reality, but the truth is they have taken more action and are implementation machines. And if you look at anybody that you follow or that you're friends with or on your team or anything like that, if you take a look at their day or what they do or had a peek inside their lives, you can guarantee that these 2 things are fact. And I know a lot of people like this. Once well, I did know this before Peter said it, but it's a very good point. But it's so true. Just take a look back at the people that you're questioning why they're successful and see why, because all it takes is that extra action and implementation. And if they're working harder than you, they're going to be more successful than you. So they are no excuses people, right? They are the people who don't, if it's 10:30 at night and they're tired, but they still have a couple of huge things on their list that they know are going to change their business, they stay up and do it regardless because they know that it's worth it. So that is a huge thing to take into account. Then you went into referrals, how to get client referrals. I said the first referral is a solicited referral. So this is where you remind your clients, your customers, your team members, anybody like that, your family, how wonderful you are. And you ask them for a name and number on the spot. You say, who else do you know who would enjoy my products? Who else do you know that would like to make an income, or whatever your product is? And it is a very blunt question, so you do need to be careful with those types of referral requests because you do have the chance of alienating the client, he said, which is very true, right? Then there's the promoted referral, which is where you're reminding your partners, your clients, your family, your friends, how wonderful you are, and then ask them to please pass along. And this is one that I use very often, regardless of whether or not people are my clients or customers or are doing anything with me at all. If I get a no, I ask for a promoted referral. I just say, okay, no problem. Thanks for your honesty. But if you do know somebody else who would be a fit for this, could you please pass on my information? I'd appreciate it. And then that helps people with saying their no, right? You've kind of complimented them by saying, I appreciate your opinion and who you think would be great to work with me. So it eases that conversation. And then there's the wonderful spontaneous referral where they just come in, you don't even expect them, all of a sudden you've got somebody contacting you because they have been referred to you by someone that has worked with you, bought from you, is on your team, anything like that. And those are wonderful because those are what let you know that you are making it, that people are noticing you, that you're doing a good job. And we'll go into the things that help you to get those spontaneous referrals. The formula for a spontaneous referral, he said, is to be highly specialized. That goes back to the first part that I sent you guys out. So really focus on that. Be highly specialized in what you're doing. Number 2 is to deliver world-class service. So that is where you underpromise and overdeliver. And you want to anticipate what they want before they ask. And he used a good example of the Four Seasons resort that he was staying at. He said he was in Vegas. It was crazy heat. They were sitting around the pool and he was just roasting. And the people came around with iced down towels to pass around all the time. And so he said that they were able to anticipate what he wants without him having to have asked for it, right? And he said that now that's his absolute favorite resort to stay at and he wouldn't stay anywhere else. So how can we do this in home business? Well, we can anticipate what our target market wants before they ask by doing videos or webinars, or even if it's about your team, calling your downline, reaching out to them before they reach out to you. And I think this is one mistake a lot of people make, and maybe once you have a certain success level, of course, you don't have the time for this, but there's some people I know that aren't at a certain success level that just are of the mindset that people will contact me. I don't have time to be taking care of my people. And it's not so much micromanaging or taking care of them. It's anticipating what they want so that they want to work with you and reaching out and just caring about the people that have reached out their hand to you, that have said that they need your help or that want to be on your team or that believe in you as a leader. So why wouldn't you want to reach out that hand back sometimes, right? And that is where you over deliver. And that is where you anticipate what people need. So if you are marketing with videos or webinars, you're doing that in an active way with people who don't even know you or maybe work with you, but you're anticipating your target market's need, which is huge. So another question that he says he asks himself is, what do my clients need that I haven't delivered yet? So that's a great way if you want to start making a list of things that you can do or videos that you could do. What do they need that you haven't delivered yet? Maybe they're getting it from somewhere else, but what haven't you given them? And how can you put your own spin on it, which is huge. So then he went into some time management techniques, which were great. He said his first time management technique is to ask himself on the spot, what is the most effective use of my time right now. And how many times do we need to do that during the day, right? As soon as I find myself in my news feed of my Facebook, I check myself and I take a look at my paper that has everything on it that I need to get done that day. And it's like, okay, where am I going next? What am I doing next? Who am I calling next? Who am I reaching out to next, right? So it's what is the most effective, always be effective. And then he made a really great point, which I know that I don't personally do, is he said to treat your marketing time, so the time that you're doing your videos or sharing your information or posting your information, whatever you're doing with your marketing, running your ads, that you treat it as a no interruption time. So just the same as when you're calling a prospect or talking to your team or holding a webinar, right? Make your marketing time a no interruptions time as well. Schedule that hour, stick to it, turn your phone off, turn the TV or whatever you listen to off. Don't listen to an audiobook, anything like that. Just make it no interruptions. Let your family know that you're really digging into what you're doing for 1 hour, that you just need that time, and get it done. So then he jumped into professional referrals, and this kind of takes it an extra step. And not all of us might be at this point or ever even need to be, but it does fit in with our profession and what we do. Absolutely. He says if you're going to be looking for professional referrals, and so this can be people in other network marketing companies, this can be leaders that you know, this can be people who are coaches, this can be just people in your city. If you are using your home business locally and are able to deliver something to your local market, this can be, you know, getting around professional people who can refer to you, you can refer to them. You want to take time every day with that type of a situation. So a little bit of time each day needs to be focused on building these relationships and on not being selfish with it. You know, you've got to be able to think, okay, who can I refer? Keeping your ears open, talking to people. And it takes a little bit more of a social strategy in your city if you're doing it that way. Online is a little bit different. You can definitely keep a list of people, check in with them from time to time. And he said to do that with drip campaigns to your referring partners. So, you know, once every 2 weeks or once a month at least, be sending out some information about what you're up to and just remind them that you're out there. I know my realtor does that. We haven't, but, you know, we bought our house. It's 10 years ago now in October, and he still, every 6 months we get his card in the mail and a little update of what he's been doing with his business and how things are going, and reminding us that he's our favorite realtor, right? That's his actual slogan, your favorite realtor. So he stays in our mind, and it's not pushy. So it's definitely something you want to do. And then he said that you want to schedule at least one lunch a week with these people. So for me, a good example of this is a local BNI, right? And I've been part of one of those, and it is great. You can get tons of referrals from that. You develop great business relationships. You never know where those relationships can go. It never hurts to be around a bunch of successful people once a week and bouncing ideas off of each other. It's great to hear other people's perspectives. So it's a really great way, if you can afford to join something like that, it's an excellent way to boost your business. Then he went on to wow your clients or your team, I put that in there, with special events. So if you're going to do a home party, if you're in home business and you usually do home parties or usually do, you know, an informative session or whatever, do that for your existing clients. Don't make it about new customers. Do this for them, and then you can even throw in that little referral question when they're with you, right? If whether it's at your house or whatever you want to do, but you can wow them with your service. Treat them to some wine and cheese or whatever you want to have out. Give them a deal maybe on one of your products. Share with them a new product that's coming out that you're excited about. You know, make it exciting, but make it about them. Really let them know how much you appreciate them. And then, like I say, you can ask for the referrals from them as well. Or you could even have a bin or a little jar on your table and just say, you know, if you have a name of someone that you think I should reach out to, I'd love it if you could just drop their name in here and I could reach out on your behalf. That would be great. And I think with your team as well, it's always great when you do something extra with your team. If you're able to get them all, you know, our team does trips at least once a year. If you can do, you know, special little outings, I see teams going, you know, mini golfing or doing fun things like that, go to an amusement park, those kind of things where you're treating your team. And I know that you need to be at a certain success level for those types of things, but even if you could do something small, if you've only got a downline of one person, take them out to lunch, take them out to dinner, send them a gift card, just do something that's a little bit special for them. And make sure you do this at least 4 times a year. Now, he said if you're dealing with customers, do not do surveys. Surveys are done. He said out of every, what did he say, 20 surveys or something like that, 1 person answers them. So don't bother with surveys. And I know that's where our minds tend to go. I know mine did. I was like, well, you could send out a survey to your customers and find out, well, you know, what they need and how you can wow them. No, don't do that. He said to develop a client advisory board. Now, of course, most of us are not building corporations, right? Some of you might be, which is awesome. So that's a great suggestion. He said of 5 to 12 people. But in relating this to a home business with a team, why not with your team, each of you take a certain task in that. So develop your own kind of personal client advisory board. Find out what the needs of your current clientele are. Find out what their problems are, what they haven't liked about your product, what they have liked about your product, and make sure to come together once a month and share all that information so that you can really become this awesome marketing machine where you can come up with great ideas on how to work with your clients. So one of the best pieces of advice that he gave was to learn by other people's experience other than your own failure. That is so true, and I'm sure most of us on here have learned by failure many times. And I personally spent the first 1.5 years in home business learning from my own failure after failure, and not the good kind of failure that like gets you success afterwards. Like it was just failure that led to more failure. And it was when I got around people who knew what they were doing and became a little bit more open to asking questions, right? Like you deal with pride. I'm a very independent person, so I don't like to ask for help. I hate asking people for help. It's just not something that I do. I'm very, you know, I do everything on my own. But I found that it's okay to ask those questions. It's okay to find out that information, because if you just ask and don't try to do it on your own, fail, and then have to still go ask or figure out how somebody has done it, it saves you so much time and it gets you to where you want to go so much faster. My success, absolutely, the momentum picked up like crazy once I got around the right people and just listened and asked and just, sorry, my phone's going off here, and just listened to what they said, right? And just followed what they said. And I know we hear that all the time, follow what people tell you and follow their clues to success. And it's so true. So absolutely listen. So the meat and bones of this half an hour that he got, what I got out of it the most was to come up with ways you can underpromise and overdeliver to your clients, to your team. Literally make a list. Think of ways that you can just stand out like crazy. Be authentic to yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else. Don't, you know, go Google what other people are doing and try to do the same thing. Be yourself and just be genuine, and really just remember that people are always wowed by when you do something that they didn't expect. If you just deliver what you promised, people stay satisfied, but they don't stay wowed to that point where they're going to give you those referrals and everything that he talked about. So work on that slogan, come up with ways to do this, be authentic, and that's the homework for this part here, part 2. Part 3, it sounds like he's going into client communication next. So when I send that out to you, I will be working on that on Friday morning, and I will have that out to you guys on Friday afternoon. So hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, as always, connect with me. You can email me at angel@coffeewithangel.com. You can reply to the email that I sent you, and I will get that as well. Or if we're friends on Facebook, for sure, message me. And if we're not friends on Facebook, make sure to add me, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys. Okay, hope you have a great day. I'm going to close this off here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.